Altcoin season is probably canceled unless one particular thing happens. That's what we're going to talk about. I'm going to lay out the case, and it's something I want you to think about. It may not be the reason we're not in an alt season, but I just want you to think a little more about some of the economic factors and things that might play into this when you're keeping your eye on whether or not we're in an alt season. If you look at this chart here, this particular site CoinGlass lists 30 different indicators telling us we're in an alt season. There's 30 of them. Not one is telling us we're in an alt season. But you already know that because all your altcoins are down. So why is that happening? Why is it that the stock market is through the roof, that gold is through the roof, yet cryptocurrency just seems to be sitting and just constantly going down? Let's talk about that. I'm Brian, Big Dumb Animal. Don't do what I do. Informational purposes only. If you wouldn't mind, please do subscribe, see more of my shows. There's a join button if you want to help the channel out. I also have a school community, which I'll talk about at the end. It's a paid community. I've got courses on how to learn everything about crypto. We also have daily discussions about where we think we are in the market, like we're going to do right now. And I've got a new exchange that I like called BTCC. I've got a link down below. If you use that one, it'll take you to my landing page with my big fat head on it. And if you use that link to sign up, there'll be some bonuses, extra dollars when you sign up and do certain things. And I'll be putting out a whole bunch of videos discussing how to trade crypto when these markets like now are just kind of going sideways. By the way, at the end, if you believe in my current thesis or theory, I'm going to tell you in the next episode exactly what you can do. Got to have a reason for you to watch me more than once, right? Okay. So let me read off this interesting list. I saw this on X. People have posted different things. I keep a list myself of the various indicators, or let's say catalysts, that would help push this crypto market. And as I'm ticking them all off, I'm thinking, okay, now's the time it's going to take off. And it doesn't move, and it doesn't move. Here's a list. We have a U.S., or at least in the U.S., I know people are watching from all over the world, but in the U.S., we have a crypto-friendly president. You all know that, the administration. The U.S. just completed a deal with China, the final tariff deal. We've been dealing with tariffs all year. They've been keeping the market in fluctuation. And now the U.S. finally completed a deal with China, the last country to deal with. Then the Fed, the U.S. Fed, lowered rates October 29th. Great. They also talked about quantitative tightening ending December 1st. That's when they take money out of the system. So hopefully they'll start putting money back into the system, quantitative easing. M2 money supply has been increasing for quite a while, actually. 3 new altcoin ETFs. We've had Bitcoin and Ethereum ETFs for a long time. Just this week, we had 3 other than Bitcoin and Ethereum. Solana with staking, I think that's a big deal. Hedera, and also Litecoin. And they've gotten a decent amount of initial purchases, and they just launched like 2 days ago. That's, well, depends on when you watch this video, but it was October 29th. Excuse me. That's substantial in my mind. We've been waiting for that all year. Finally. Now there's many other altcoins that have spot ETF. They've been with various different money managers have applied to have them. So there should be more coming out for those coins and others. I think that's huge. So ETFs are buying crypto. Companies, as we know, in the last year or so have been gobbling up Bitcoin, digital asset treasuries, whatever you want to call them, just companies in general. And now you've got ones doing the same thing with Ethereum and some other crypto. Gold's up, stocks up. Okay, everything's positive. So what's going on? Why is crypto in the toilet? Let me tell you what I think. And let me just walk you through a couple things here. This is inflation in the United States. And it had been running around this level here, looks like around 2.5 or below. Then we had this crazy inflation here. And it's still fairly high. These levels here, if you just eyeball it, on average are higher than before 2021. But here's the thing. This enormous inflation didn't go away. So when people say things like, oh, September was only 3%. Well, yeah, but what about all of this? The only way that, let's say, this bar of 8.5 could go away is if one of these months had a negative 8.5. It's the only way you can negate this. So inflation shot up and stayed. It's been sticky. Hasn't gone anywhere Everything's more expensive. You know that. We all know that. I showed this post. There's a YouTuber I really like to watch, RE Venture. He does a great job with the real estate market. This is showing incomes, and it's showing the incomes needed to afford an average American home. And you can see here in gray, that's the median income. Excuse me. In yellow is what you need to afford a home. So we had a drop in the real estate market. We had a real estate market bubble 2008. It lasted to about 2012. You see prices came down, or at least with the income levels. But we had this bubble here, and that's when the cost of a home greatly exceeded, you can see the distance here, the median income. Typically, they run pretty close. And then after that, when the market corrected itself, it was running where the cost of an average home income needed was here in yellow, which was below the median income for a while. And then boom, here in whatever it was, 2022, it rocketed up. What is this showing us? It's showing us that the average individual cannot afford a home in the US. Homes are greatly overpriced. That inflation shot up and didn't come down. We have this anomaly in the US where it is actually cheaper to buy a brand new home than it is to buy a used home, because the builders can change their prices and change their profit margins. But most importantly, a builder who sells you a home can actually buy down your rate. So if the average rate is 7% for a 30-year mortgage, the builder can drop 30, 40 grand, whatever it is at closing, and drop it down to 4%. If I sell you my home, I can't do that. I can't buy down your rate. You need 7%. So all of these homes are sitting on the market. And he has shown that in the US, we have areas that have already crashed. And 20% or more is considered a crash. We have areas in Florida, Texas, a lot of the southern warmer areas where people move to work from home. Those have already started coming down. So real estate is out of control in terms of pricing. That will correct because the incomes have not gone up enough to keep up with inflation. Motor vehicles. People purchased cars that were way too expensive during the last 5 years or so. Look at this. If we go back, this is the last 2008 crisis I was talking about regarding real estate. Here it was around, at its peak, around 800 billion. And now it's 1.6 trillion as of, this is just the end of 2024. This doesn't even have 2025. I couldn't find the updated one. So it has doubled since the last crisis in terms of vehicle loans. Car repossessions, some articles here, bottom line, repossessions reached the highest levels since 2009. People can't pay their bills. Consumer credit. Credit cards, other revolving plans. Back here, this was the 2008, like I mentioned, around 400 billion. And now here in October, it was 1 trillion, more than doubled. Student loans. This is astronomical. 2008, it was 0.68 trillion. Now it's 1.78. $1 trillion increase. 6 times 3 is 18. Yeah, a 3x in terms. So, and we're going to get to one more thing. But look, housing prices are out of control. Inflation, because inflation shot up and it hasn't come back down. It hasn't negated that huge jump in inflation. Cars, in terms of people taking on car loans, through the roof. When it comes to consumer credit and credit cards, maxed out. When it comes to student loans, through the roof. But incomes have not caught up. People are having a hard time paying their bills. And when I say people, that's the next thing I want to talk about. Take a look at this. I discussed this on another show, but this is very important to know. There is a bifurcated economy in the US. Let's just say, keep it simple, younger, older. If you look at this, the share of total wealth, if you saw my other show, you know, under 40 years of age, in the US, they have about $9 trillion. Okay, then 40 to 54 has about 27 trillion. Over 55, 100 trillion. The majority of the wealth, 73, let's just call it 70% of the wealth in the US is over 55. Interesting, huh? Look at this chart. Under 35, they did the age a little different here. Crypto ownership rate, about 42%. That's a lot, under 35, buying crypto. Typical allocation, 5 to 15% of their investments. 35 to 54, 23 to 37, still a quarter or more, 1/3, and 3 to 10% allocation. But look at this, 55 plus, only 4 to 8%. And how much of their allocation? Only 1 to 5. So what we can say from these charts is, one, older people have all the monies. And then we look at this chart and we say, and older people aren't buying crypto. Younger people don't have the monies, and younger people buy crypto. Now we know. Now we know why gold is through the roof, why silver's through the roof, why stocks are through the roof, because the older generation isn't buying crypto, and they have all the money. The younger generation that wants to buy crypto can't, because they can't pay their bills in this current economy. So, do we think we're going to have an altcoin season when the people that buy crypto are broke? I would say not. You can't sell things to broke people. Well, I guess you can. People do that. They're unscrupulous. They have no morals, and they sell things to people who can't afford them, and they end up taking them back. Those people are terrible. I'm not talking about that. Generally speaking, when people don't have money, they can't buy something. So I think we've cracked the nut, so to speak, and figured out what's really going on. Also, we also look at other indicators. Google searches, crypto, not going up like they typically do before an altcoin season. The Coinbase app going up to number 1 in the App Store. I think it's still around 15 to 20. That really hasn't gone up. Just other reasons to show, or other indicators that show that people aren't buying crypto at the moment. So there you have it. Younger generations buys crypto. They don't have any money. How do we expect an alt season? Older generation has the money. They're not buying crypto. That's why the stock market is going through the roof. They do have stock, gold, and real estate. Most of the real estate transactions, from what I've seen, are in the upper home prices, like $1 million plus. And there's a lot of cash transactions. So this group of wealthier, older individuals, they're really moving our economy. They're the only ones pushing this economy forward. In my opinion, as everything I've said is my opinion, I think we're in a recession. I don't care that the fact that the government says we're not in a recession and they constantly change the definition. I think we are. We're seeing layoffs left and right all over the place, and people can't pay their bills. Okay, that was a long episode. Thank you for watching. Listen to my school. But tomorrow, I'm going to tell you 2 things I think you can do in this current environment to help you out in crypto right now based on what we just learned. Please do watch tomorrow. Have a great day. Love how I break things down? Then hop into my crypto school. You'll get step-by-step courses on everything: buying, selling, staking for yield, borrowing, lending, even going fully debanked. Plus, join lively crypto chats and catch my daily market updates. And lastly, if you just want to help support the channel, there's a join button just below this video.